Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the very special part of today's ceremony, the first plenary lecture of the second International Conference on Frontiers in Chemical Technology. I would like to invite our conference secretary, Dr. Samira Gunatilaka, to introduce our well-renowned Professor Dinesh Mohan from the School of Environmental Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University in India, to the audience.
It's a great privilege to introduce my friend, colleague, collaborator, and the esteemed scientist, Professor Dinesh Mohan. Dinesh Mohan is a professor in the School of Environmental Sciences at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, India. He is an elected fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry, London, and National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, India. He is also an adjunct professor at the Department of Chemistry, Mississippi State University, United States. He was a visiting professor at Czech University of the Life Sciences, Prague, Czech Republic, and an adjunct professor at the University of Southern Queensland, Australia. Dinesh Mohan earned his master's and PhD degrees from the esteemed Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. His academic journey also includes valuable experiences as a postdoctoral associate at both Penn State University and the Mississippi State University, United States. Professor Mohan has made remarkable strides in environmental sciences, particularly in the water treatment and management, and the innovative use of biochar for climate change mitigation and soil improvement. His sustainable materials effectively eliminate a wide range of contaminants from water, including heavy metals, pesticides, and emerging pollutants. Notably, his development of cost-effective biochars addresses the water treatment challenges prevalent in India. Mohan's pioneering three-dimensional approach to assisting biochars' adsorbent potential has garnered widespread recognition. In a recent breakthrough, he has pioneered a sustainable technology designed to effectively combat the issue of stubble burning in India. He published more than 170 research papers with more than 50,000 citations and an H index of 87. He has also authored many books. In addition, 2 patents have been granted to him. He has received global recognition as a Clarivate highly cited researcher from 2014 to 2022. In addition to his extensive accomplishments, Professor Mohan has garnered a multitude of esteemed scientific and professional awards, including the Scopus Young Scientist Award and the Hiyoshi Environmental Award. He was also recognized as a research giant by the University of Southern Queensland, Australia. Furthermore, he has honored with the Clarivate Analytics India Research Excellence Citation Awards in 2019, prestigious Dr. S.S. Deshpande Memorial Award in 2017, and holds the distinguished title of Outstanding Scientist conferred upon him by CSIR India. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Professor Dinesh Mohan.
Very long introduction. So, okay. Thank you and good morning to all of you. And first, I would like to thank Dr. Samira and University of Ceylon for giving me the opportunity to speak something about my research, what I am doing, and how it can be implemented or it can be used in Sri Lanka. So today I will be talking on the concept how to convert this waste material into biochar and how this biochar can be used in different environmental compartments, including water, soil, climate change, and also in the soil fertility. Before I will start, I think let me just give you a brief introduction about my university. So I am from Jawaharlal Nehru University, that is very much located in New Delhi, established in 1969. And this is ranked number 1 in India as per the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC. And also, this is the best university where we have many disciplines across the subjects like social science, humanities, science, engineering. I don't know what is coming, this cross. So this is having very big campus, about 1,200 acres of land. And we have different schools, including arts and aesthetics, biotechnology, computer science, computational and integrative science, School of Engineering, School of Environmental Sciences, International Studies. Then we have a School of Languages, School of Life Science, School of Physical Science, Social Science. So our social science school is very, very big and very strong. JNU is known for the social science. So in science department, in science school, we usually include the social aspect whenever we are working on the technology development. Then we have many more centers. Some new schools are coming, including the national security. So I think we have many students from different countries, including Sri Lanka. And they are studying for their master and PhD. We are only having the master program except languages. So mainly this is for master and PhD. I am in the School of Environmental Sciences, which is established in 1975. And this is a unique school where the student is having courses from different aspects, including physical aspects, geological aspects, chemical dimension, and biological dimension. So once the student admitted to the school, he or she has to take the courses from different disciplines to get the overall environmental, I think the physical, chemical, and biological, when somebody is entering, he must be having some courses. Like if the person is having biology background, he has to take the mathematics courses, or if somebody is having mathematics background, he will be taking some biological courses. As far as my research area is concerned, I am mainly working on these 3-4 dimensions, including water quality monitoring, modeling, assessment, remediation, developing some materials for decontamination of water. Then I am also working on the biorefineries, where we are converting biomass, the agriculture residue, into biofuels. And then the byproduct we are getting during the thermal conversion of biomass, that is the biochar, we are using for the climate change mitigation. So let's talk about the agriculture residue we are having in India. So in India, we are getting about 600 million metric tons of agriculture residue every year. So this is a big problem, and most of the time, farmers are burning these residue in the agriculture field because they want to get the agriculture field ready for the next crop. You know why? Because of the climate change, the duration between one crop to the another crop is reducing. So when they are finishing with the rice cultivation, I think for the next crop, they have only 10 to 12 days. So this is the best option. What they are doing is they are generally burning in the agriculture field, without knowing the negative effect of the residue burning in the field. So overall, if you look into the this data globally, we are getting about 3.7 petagram dry matter per year. And this burning is not restricted to only India. Throughout the world, including South Africa, East Asia, China, North America, even some parts in US, but very small amount, we have this biomass burning. So if we can use this biomass for some useful product which can be utilized in different applications, I think that will also be dealing with the climate change mitigation. So I will just try to give you that idea how we can convert and use that in the water, air, soil, and climate change. So this is the map where you find that this agriculture residue is being burned in India all over, starting from north to east, south to west, but especially if you see the North India, this is how they are burning in the field. And especially in the winter season, across the Gangetic region, we have this big problem. Even in Delhi, the smoke is coming from the nearby cities, and it is difficult to even take the breath. So this is a big problem, and government is putting a lot of efforts how to stop this stubble burning in the field. So when you just burn it, you will be putting a lot of contaminants in the air. So you name the contaminant that is going in the air. But in addition to that, let me give you some statistics about the total contaminants you are putting, major contaminants. So if you take 1 ton of stubble and you burn it, you will be getting about 2 kilograms of SO2, 3 kilograms of particulate matter, 60 kilograms of carbon dioxide, 1,460 kilograms of CO2, and about 199 kilograms of ash. This is only due to the 1 ton of stubble burning. In addition to that, if you see on the right-hand side, especially this data is for the paddy straw, so you are also losing about 339 kilograms of nitrogen, 6 kilograms of phosphorus, 140 kilograms of potassium, 11 kilograms of sulfur, plus some organic carbon you are also losing. So you not only putting the contaminants in the air, but you are also killing all those nutrients which basically need for your agriculture. So what we can do is, we can play with this biomass and convert into the useful product by using these 3 platforms. One is the thermal conversion platform, where either we are dealing with the pyrolysis or gasification or combustion. Second is the biological conversion platform, where we need the fermentation or digestion, and finally ending with the ethanol and biogas. And one is the mechanical conversion, especially where we are converting that into the biodiesel. So today I will not be going into the detail of the biological or mechanical conversion processes, because that is not the matter of my talk. So currently my group is working on this thermal conversion platform, where you have any waste, any biomass, which is having some organic carbon. So in place of burning in the field, either you go for the pyrolysis to get the liquid mass, we call it bio-oil, or you convert that into syngas, and finally this syngas and biomass will be converting into the energy. But in addition to that, what our group is doing, we are converting this waste into biochar. And why this biochar is important? Because this is a porous material having very high surface area. And because of these properties, this biochar can be used to remediate the impurities from water, or when you use this in the soil, it improves the soil quality. I will briefly discuss about that, how it will improve. And also it sequesters the carbon. So overall, this is a win-win situation. But keep in mind, when we deal with the conversion of biomass into the products, we have to be careful, like when biological conversion processes are being used, we need wet biomass, so a lot of water is used. But in thermal conversion platform, I think it is wrong. Oh. In thermal conversion platform, what happens? Go back. So back? It is going back, no? Okay. Okay, thank you. So for biological conversion, you need a lot of water. So usually that is not a good conversion process or to convert biomass into a useful product. But in the thermal conversion platform, we usually need a dry biomass. When I said dry biomass, it is not like 0% moisture. We need about less than 10% moisture, and you will be getting the multiple products in terms of the liquid. And also, this process is very fast. So I will discuss that. So when you are going for the fast pyrolysis, you are ending up with 75% of liquid and about 12% of char. We right now calling it biochar. And also you are getting about 13% of gases. So here, the temperature we generally keep between 400 to 600 degrees centigrade, not very high, not very low. In the slow pyrolysis, we usually work in the low temperature range between 350 to 450 degrees centigrade. And when you are dealing with the slow pyrolysis, our aim is to get the high yield of the biochar, so we can achieve up to 40% of biochar. In the gasification process, we work at a very high temperature, usually above 800 degrees centigrade, and the residence time is also variable from 10 seconds to 30 minutes, and you will be getting about 80% of syn gases. So those gases can be converted into the electricity. So when we talk about the biochar, it is a fine-grained charcoal, high in organic carbon. Usually this is a carbon-negative technology. Why I am saying, I will explain, because it sequesters carbon. In addition to that, when you are using in the soil, it retains nutrients. It also stops the nutrient leaching from the soil. It increases the microbial activity in the soil. It enhances the plant microbial interaction. The stability of the biochar in the soil is more than 1,000 years. So that makes the biochar a very good candidate for the carbon sequestration. And this is having high surface area. So this can be used for the water remediation. So why I am saying this is a carbon negative technology? So everybody is familiar with the carbon cycle. You have the biomass, you have the trees, they are taking the CO2, and then once the plant is dead, all the CO2 or nitrous oxide after degradation is going back into the environment, and it is a carbon neutral cycle. But what we are doing is we are taking some of the biomass, converting that into the biochar, putting in the soil. Because the half-life of this biochar is more than 1,000 years, so that much amount of the CO2 you have taken out and you stored in the soil. So finally this CO2 neutral cycle becomes CO2 negative cycle. So this is the advantage of using biochar in any application. In addition to where you are using, you are also dealing to sequester carbon in the soil. Now, the good thing is IPCC in 2018 recommended 6 technologies for the carbon sequestration, and this biochar is on the top. Later on in IPCC report released in August 9, 2021, I think biochar is discussed in detail. So in addition to this biochar technology, we have 5 more technologies. But let me tell you, in the last few years, whatever carbon has been sequestered, out of that carbon, 94% sequestration or management has been done only by the biochar, out of so many technologies which currently being used for the carbon mitigation. Now, when you do the slow pyrolysis, you will be getting the material that is basically char, but one has to be careful because there is a definition given by the IBI, International Biochar Initiative, which material will be called as biochar and which does not qualify for the biochar. So they identify C by O ratio and H by C ratio, and based on that, they mentioned that O by C organic values less than 0.7 are considered to be the biochar. If you are having more than 0.7, I think that material is not going to be qualified as biochar. On the left-hand side, if you are getting very high O by C ratio, that is also hydrophobic, so we generally do not consider that very good in the, as far as the soil application is concerned. So I'm not going into the detail of this. I don't know what happens. So basically, let me tell you how we started using this okay. So in this slide, I think there are many parameters which are going to control the properties of the biochar. I am not going into that detail, but let me tell you that if you have the biochar based on the O by C ratio, you can also determine the half-life of it. Like if the O by C ratio is less than 0.2, the half-life is more than 1,400 years. If it is between 0.2 and 0.6, the half-life is between 100 to 1,000 years. And if the H by C ratio is less than 0.7, we are not going to consider that as a biochar. One also has to consider the difference among various terms right now we have in the public domain. So charcoal, char, activated carbon, hydrochar, these are most frequently used terms in the literature, and one should not get confused these with the biochar. In fact, when I said charcoal, basically the raw material or the precursor is wood. So we do the pyrolysis and getting this charcoal. We activate the charcoal, we are getting activated carbon. When I said char, basically char is any material we take, including the plastic, we do the pyrolysis, we are ending up with the char. So char is having different properties than biochar. Hydrochar is also having different properties because it is basically due to the hydrothermal carbonization or liquefaction. So these terms we have to understand, and we have to finally look into the H by C and O by C ratio to get an idea about the type of the biochar. So when I started working in Mississippi State in 2005, so we are working on the production of the bio oil at that time, and the biochar we got as a byproduct. So at that time, I think I did not find any paper where this material was used for application in the water purification. So we thought we should try to use it because it is having high surface area. So we used this for the remediation of some heavy metals at that time, though it was a difficult part because we were not having funding for this project. And in fact, you see in this slide, if you look into this graph, until 2007, there was no publication on the use of biochar in the water remediation. So after we published this paper in 2007 on the heavy metal remediation. After this 2007, we have the exponential rise in the publication. So from that point of time, I consider this biochar as my baby. Okay, so this was the reactor we use for the bio oil or biochar production. This is an auger-fed reactor where the temperature window you can keep between 400 and 500 degrees centigrade, and the residence time is about 0.5 to 5 seconds. Even we can get the oil from different condensers. If you see those pipes, you can do the condensation, and the bio oil we are getting having different properties. So this is the beauty of this auger feed reactor. This was having capacity of 1 kilogram per hour. Later on, we upgraded this. This is the actual reactor, close-up picture. Then we upgraded this reactor to 7 kilogram per hour. In fact, you can produce bio oil at the rate of 2 liter per hour and biochar of 1.5 to 2 kilogram per hour. The beauty of this reactor is the working range is between 375 to 500 degrees centigrade, and the residence time is also from 2 seconds to 20 seconds. So important part is, if you need to look into high biochar yield, you have to have the long residence time. If you need to look into the high bio oil yield, you have to have a short residence time, less than 2 seconds. So this reactor can work in both the conditions. At that time, we were also working with in collaboration with the industry, where we provided all the data, and this company ROI, they prepared this mobile vent type of reactor. So in place of bringing the biomass to the industry, to your facility, it is better you take this mobile vent with all the, electricity generators and everything. You convert the biomass into bio oil or biochar, and you can then bring that material back to the facility. Recently, government of India is putting a lot of efforts how to deal with this biomass burning issue. So we designed this kacha and pakka reactor. In kacha reactor, we use the clay soil. So what we did is, we use locally available clay, and we designed the reactor in a way that we will be getting biochar in about 8 to 10 hours. And we recommended that either the small biochar reactor can be built, or at the community level, we can make the big reactor. Once you are done with the conversion process, you can dismantle it in the soil, in the agriculture field. And we have also demonstrated that when you have more clay soil in the field, agriculture field, biochar work better. So this is the additional advantage. Or you can make the pakka reactor at the community level and convert into biochar. So this biochar not only having high surface area, having many groups, these groups are helpful in taking those contaminants from water. I'm not going into the detail. So this is the beauty of this material. Now, how to manipulate, how to engineer the biochar, so we can change the type of biomass, the operating condition, including temperature, heating rate, mass transfer rate, then residence time, pressure, type of input gas, catalyst. Even we can do the pre-treatment. Let's say you need to make the biochar having high cation exchange capacity. So you can soak, you can treat the biomass with some salts, and then after soaking, once the reaction is complete, you can go for the pyrolysis, and you will be getting the desired cation or anion exchange capacity in the material. Or you can go for the post-treatment. So this is the review article at that time in 2006 we have written. I think those who are interested, they will get a lot of information about the reactors and the conditions which can be useful in the biochar production. This is highly cited article, already cited more than 7,000 times. And in many patents, in policy papers, in US and UK, this article has been cited. This is published in ACS Energy and Fuels. Then let's come to the biochar applications. So our group, after converting biomass into biochar, use the material in water filtration, in soil management, and in food security. So I will just briefly go through those slides to give you some idea about the application. These are some of the biomass types we have used. Few I have included in this table, starting from pine wood, oak wood to energy cane, even corn stubble, rice straw, wheat straw. So we use many biomass types to convert into the biochar, and we use for many contaminants for the remediation from water or wastewater. We are using in 3 different ways those material. One is we are using the biochar to make the biochar cartridges, so that you can simply make the filtration unit using those biochar. We are designing the biochar as per the requirement. Let's say if you want to use the biochar for the arsenic removal or fluoride removal, so we have our biochar which is selective for fluoride or arsenic, and we have the patent for this biochar cartridge making, how to make the porous cartridge. Then we can also use the biochar by magnetize the material. Why we did that? Because we have seen in West Bengal, there are many places where we have high arsenic contamination. And when they are using the sophisticated treatment method, there is a problem of choking. So many a times, those plants are not working. So what we thought is, let's say you have a village where you have very high arsenic contamination. So at the community level, we can build a tank, and in the tank, we can disperse that magnetic biochar, and maybe in the evening, we can disperse it. In the morning, maybe one person who is responsible for running the tank can take a simple magnet and take that material out of the water, and water can be used for the drinking purpose. And then we have the patented biochar bags, like for the point of use, you can also use, like we are using the tea bags for making the tea. So simply depending on the concentration, we can use the sufficient amount of the biochar, and maybe in the bucket, we can have maybe 20 gram, 30 gram, depending on the concentration in the evening, and in the morning, you will be getting the water free of arsenic and fluoride. So we have many patents on those technologies. If somebody is interested, I will be happy to talk about that. Okay. Then this is where we are also using for the oil spills. And what we did is we use some lauric acid to make this biochar floating on the water. So you disperse that on the oil where you have the oil spill, and this biochar is going to take all the oil, and just by skimming you can take that material out of the water, and this water is free from the oil. And later on, what we did is we try to make the use this used biochar into briquettes, and those briquettes can be used for heat generation or the energy generation. So we also use for the oil removal from water. These are some of the experiments. Now recently we try to use this biochar in the constructed wetland. So in place of using only the soil, sand, gravel, we introduce one biochar layer in between the soil and gravel. And what we got is excellent results. You see on the top, we did not use any biochar. These are very recent results. And you see the growth of the plant, and also the quality of the water, including the TDS and other contaminants. We found the removal is 100% in many cases. In those wetlands, we use the water we collected from our hostel after primary treatment. So no studies have been carried out in the lab. These are the actual experiments carried out in the field. We are also converting this biochar into nanobiochar, and we are using in different applications, including water remediation and making the cartridge. So this is also one of the emerging area where the young students who are interested in this area can start working on that. Now let me give you a brief idea how we use this in the soil. So what we did is we took the biomass and we applied the biomass after chopping in the soil at the rate of 8, 24, and 48 tons per hectare. Similarly, we also took biochar at the same rate and we applied to the soil. And one study where we have not included the biochar or the biomass. Now, how it is going to work as far as the CO2 sequestration is concerned, let me just give you a brief idea. Let's say you have biochar, and biochar is having 90% carbon. So if you are applying 10 kilogram of the biochar, so how much CO2 it is going to sequester? It will be about 33 kilogram of CO2. So indirectly, we convert this 9 kilogram of carbon into 33 kilogram of CO2. So if you are putting 1 kilogram of soil, you are sequestering around 3 kilogram of the CO2. So this is how this will be helpful in the CO2 sequestration. So this is the setup we used, and we also measure the CO2 emission from the soil in the laboratory as well as in the field. And you see, this is the setup we have in our school. We have the garden, so we are doing all the experiment in the garden. Excellent results we got. When we use the biochar in the soil in place of the biomass, so we have about 90% reduction in the CO2 emission. If you compare at different doses, I have given this data. With 0.5% biomass, when you are getting about 31.98% decrease. But when you increase to 3% biochar, you are getting about 90% decrease in the CO2 emission. So it is not only going to sequester the carbon, it also control the CO2 emission from the soil. So another important benefit. Now, in addition to the CO2 or the carbon management, how it is going to benefit the soil properties. So I summarize some properties in this table, and I just want to emphasize here, see row number 3, where you have the organic matter. So without any biochar, the organic matter is about 0.29%, but when you increase to 3 weight percent of biochar, you are getting about 30. So you have, I think, many-fold increase in the organic matter. See the water holding capacity. Without biochar, the water holding capacity is 11.2. But when you add 3%, it is going to rise to 30%. So how it is going to benefit? This biochar can hold the water, but when you are keeping this biochar in the soil, it will slowly release the water, slowly. So that way you can also reduce the water you need for irrigation. So that is the another advantage. Then see the cation exchange capacity. Without biochar, you have 4.16, and when you add the biochar, it increases to 36.08. Huge increase in the cation exchange capacity. That means you need less inorganic fertilizer. Why? Let me give you one simple data. When you are using urea in the agriculture field, that means you are only taking, or soil is only taking maybe 40% of the urea. Rest of the urea is going into the runoff. So how to control that? So if you have this biochar, we are also trying to make some slow release fertilizer using the biochar. It holds the ions and then slowly release those ions. So that way you will be able to increase the soil fertility of the soil by decreasing the inorganic fertilizer. So this is the another advantage. So I am not going into the detail how the plants are going to behave. This is one slide where you can clearly see that with 0% biochar, how much is the height, and when you increase to 3% by weight, this biochar, you will be getting from 9 to 12.4 centimeter. This is at the end of, I think, 6 or 7 weeks in the last 2 columns. Similarly, we also measured the number of leaves per plant with time, and we found that number of leaves also increases. This work we have published in RSC Advances in 2008, and this is already cited, I think, more than 150 times, where we also did some calculation that how much carbon is being sequestered in the soil when we use this biochar. These are some of the pictures where you can see the plants with biochar and without biochar. Now, see the fruit quality. This is from the first harvest, and we divide the fruits we got into 4 categories as per the US classification: US Fancy, US number 1, US number 2, and culls. When we use the biochar, most of the fruits were of Fancy category. Hardly we are getting any culls. But when we are not using any biochar or having low biochar, most of the fruits were either in the US number 2 or the culls. So that way you are also improving the fruit quality. That is going to address the food security as far as the food issues are concerned. This is a picture. This is the recent data. This is for the ladyfinger, or I don't know how you call it. So we have the control and we have the different doses of the biochar and biomass. So the okra fruit, you see the quality without biochar and with biochar. Huge increase in the fruit quality. So this is for the this is the recent one I am just showing. These are the tomato plants where you see the first one is the control, the height, and then we have different type of biochars. We are using only those biochars which we are making directly from the agriculture residue, especially the wheat straw or the rice straw or the rice husk. And then recently we also use this biochar for the soil remediation. So this is a recent paper, I think in 2024, where we use this biochar in highly contaminated soil. If you see the table given on the left-hand side, this soil was collected from the industrial area where we have high lead around 79.2, cadmium 8.0, chromium 33.05, and nickel 34.5. And the beauty of this product is when you use the biochar in the soil, in the contaminated soil, what this biochar is doing, it is converting bioavailable fraction into non-bioavailable fraction. So that way the plants are not taking those metal ions, and your fruits are free from those contaminants. So we try to measure the different fractions. We called easily exchangeable, bound to carbonate, then bound to iron, bound to organic, residual. So our aim was to convert the easily exchangeable fraction into organic bound fraction, and we were successful when we applied this biochar in the soil. So this is another application where you can also decontaminate or immobilize the metals in the soil. So I think we are trying our best to use this biochar in different applications. Now, recently, because in India, government is putting a lot of efforts to use nano-urea. So what they are suggesting is, first time you use the urea, and then second and third time, you must be able to replace the urea by nano-urea. So we did some experiment by different combination, control, biochar alone, biochar with urea, biochar with nano-urea, urea alone, nano-urea alone. So if you look into this data, I think we got beautiful results. Overall, when we use biochar with nano-urea and biochar with urea, I think in the red color I mentioned 2.5% biochar with 0.2% urea and 2.5% biochar with 0.02% nano-urea are showing exactly same results, are giving exactly same results. So one can replace the urea when you will be going for the second time and third time. Also the fruit quality, if you look into the left-hand corner, this is when we have this 2.5% biochar with the urea. The fruit quality is excellent. We also measured the total weight when we use the biochar with urea or nano-urea, and when we use the urea alone and nano-urea alone. So fruit quality also improved, the total weight also improved, the classification as per the I have shown before, we got less skulls when we have this biochar used with urea or nano-urea. The cost of this biochar we calculated is about 0.64 per kilogram, but again, it depends from region to region. It depends on the reactor you are using. It depends on the precursor, how you are using that precursor, and also whether it is a waste material or agriculture residue or wood or biomass. So depending on that, one can calculate that. I think you will be getting, maybe when you are going to produce at the large scale, you will be getting less than 0.64 per kilogram. So overall, when you use this biochar in the soil, it increases the nutrient availability, microbial activity, soil organic matter, water retention capacity, and of course, crop yield. It decreases the inorganic fertilizer, greenhouse gas emission, nutrient leaching, and also the erosion. Now, just briefly, we have also used this biochar in making the compost. We got beautiful result. So if you use this biochar when you are making the compost, you can decrease the compost preparation time to 1/3. Also, when you are making compost, you are getting a lot of smell. This biochar is going to reduce that smell. Also, when you are keeping this compost for the long time, you will be losing some nitrogen. So when you are adding some biochar, you can also hold that nitrogen for a long time. So these are the benefits. So we also use this biochar in compost preparation. Biochar is also being used in making cream, makeup, digestive system cleaning, shampoo, toothbrush. Our group is not working, but you will get many papers. Even people started using this biochar in the cement preparation. They are replacing some silica by biochar. Biochar is also being given to the animal. So they are adding 1% of the biochar for feeding carbon. And because of this, they estimated that they will be controlling the methane production. So methane production will be less, so that you can directly link with the climate change. So in many countries, including Switzerland, Sweden, Europe, Japan, they are adding this 1% biochar in the feed they are giving to the animals. Now, this is also one of the applications where this biochar can also be used for a long time to keep our fruits fresh without any addition of the electricity or the energy. But not for a long time, but at least you can increase the shelf life of the fruits, especially in the villages where we are not having those refrigerator or the storing place. Okay, when you are making the biochar, I think you need to get the certification So either you can get the IBI certification, where you have this IBI, and if you want to get the certification from the European biochar, agency, I think this is also easy. You have to have the third party characterization of the biochar, and then you have to approach either IBI or the EBC. So conclusion, currently working on scaling it up to the pre-commercial prototype, diverting merely 1% of the annual net plant uptake of the CO2 into biochar, at least would mitigate nearly 10% of the current CO2 emission. So if we are able to use this biochar, at least by just adding 1%, you will be able to deal with 10% of the CO2 emission. When this solution is widely scaled, it is expected to contribute to a reduction in urban smoke by lowering emission sources in the rural agriculture area. So major benefits where we use this reactor is the area, especially the Punjab and Haryana, where they are burning the issues. So many farmers, we are also giving training to the farmers how to use the kacha reactor. They can build in the field and they can later on dismantle it. So I think with this, I am done with the presentation. This is the recent book we published on the use of biochar in water and wastewater treatment from elsewhere. So I will be happy to answer if you have any query.